Let's talk about the hidden forces that are constantly shaping our financial lives. And no, this isn't about budgets or spreadsheets. This is about the invisible architecture inside our own minds and how it quietly, almost secretly, dictates where our money really goes.
So here's the puzzle that I think a lot of us see. You have smart, capable people, founders, professionals, you name it. They're earning a good income, and yet so many remain financially fragile. They know the rules, they have good intentions, but something just isn't connecting. This isn't a failure of intelligence. It's a failure to see the game they're actually playing.
To really get to the bottom of this, we have to start with the core signal. It's this one, single, counterintuitive truth that, once you see it, it changes how you look at every single financial transaction you make.
We love to tell ourselves that spending is a rational choice, right? We're weighing the price, the function, the utility. But the signal, the real truth, is that most of the time, spending isn't an economic decision at all. It's a psychological act. It's an emotional reaction.
Okay, so if spending is really a psychological act, how does that actually play out in our day-to-day lives? Well, this one signal shows up as three distinct, incredibly powerful, and usually invisible patterns. Think of them as scripts that are running in the background.
And the thing about these scripts is they're completely automatic. They operate way below the level of our conscious thought. They guide our financial decisions without us ever realizing we're just following a pre-written program.
The first script is all about managing our internal state. When we feel stressed or bored or uncertain, money is just the fastest tool we have to change how we feel. Think about it. Our spending spikes during times of emotional stress, not during times of careful financial planning. We're not really buying a new gadget or buying a little hit of dopamine. We're not buying a fancy dinner, we're buying comfort.
Second, spending is a social language. We think our purchases are all about our personal tastes, but so often, they're really just subconscious signals to the groups we're in or the groups we want to be in. This is exactly why our spending tends to go up when our friends' spending goes up, not just when our own income does. It's almost like we're paying a kind of social rent to keep our spot in the tribe.
In this third script, well, this one might be the most powerful of them all. We use our money to build and defend our own identity. Our purchases become the proof of who we are. I'm the kind of person who drives this car, or wears these shoes, or takes this kind of vacation. The thing is, money flows toward protecting that self-image way faster than it flows toward building actual net worth.
So, we have the signal. Spending is psychological. And we have the patterns, these three hidden scripts. But why are they so powerful? What makes them so hard to break? Well, that brings us to the mechanism, the underlying system in our brain that locks these behaviors into place. This quote just nails it. We experience these moments as conscious choices, but if you look at what's happening neurologically, they're often just well-worn reflexes, these automatic loops that fire off without our permission.
And here's how that loop works, step by step. First, there's an invisible trigger, a bit of stress from work, a social cue on Instagram, a flicker of self-doubt. That leads to step 2, an emotional response, like anxiety or envy. Then comes step 3, the purchase, which acts as the instant fix for that bad feeling. And then, the final and most crucial step of all, our rational brain kicks in after the decision is made to justify it. We tell ourselves, oh, I needed it, or you know what, I deserved it. That rationalization is what makes the emotional reflex feel like a logical choice, and it's what guarantees the loop will run again and again.
Now, not understanding this mechanism, it comes with a pretty big cost. It's a quiet, continuous tax on our financial potential. You could call it the fragility tax.
I want you to picture your finances as having two ledgers. On one side, you've got your visible income, your salary, bonuses, all the stuff you track. But on the other side, there's this invisible tax. It's all the money that just quietly leaks out to pay for those three scripts: buying relief, signaling your status, and propping up your identity. This is the tax that keeps high earners feeling like they're living paycheck to paycheck. And all of this leads to a really important insight. Financial success isn't really about knowing more stuff. It's about seeing these hidden loops more clearly. Being smart doesn't make you immune. In fact, sometimes it just makes you better at that final step, at brilliantly rationalizing your own emotional decisions.
So, what's the alternative? What's the way out?
Well, this isn't about giving you a list of rules or a new budget. The real edge, the real advantage, comes from a simple shift in perspective. From being a player caught up in the game to being an observer of the game itself. Just look at the difference here. In the default system, the whole purpose of money is to solve immediate psychological needs, to feel better right now. The time horizon is short-term, and the biggest fear is a social one, the fear of missing out. But when you shift to a resilient perspective, the purpose of money changes completely. It becomes a tool to build long-term optionality, to build freedom. The time horizon expands, and the biggest risk isn't missing out on status, it's losing your autonomy in the future. It's the same money, just a completely different game.
So we're not going to end this with a bunch of rules or recommendations. Instead, we're going to end by turning this same analytical lens back on ourselves, with 3 simple but pretty sharp questions.
The next time you make a purchase, any purchase, just pause for a second and ask yourself this. Are you actually buying an object? Or are you buying relief from boredom? Are you buying some reassurance after a tough day? Or maybe just a little bit of stimulation? Now, take a look at your spending patterns over the last month. What story are they telling? What version of you are you paying all that money to maintain? Is it an image of success, of being smart, of belonging?
And finally, this is the most important question of all. Because at the end of the day, our money always flows towards our deepest aspirations. It's like a homing beacon for the person we're trying to become. And the only real question is whether that person is one of short-term relief or one of long-term freedom.